Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our end of the week wrap up. This is our TV news video. We talk about the news, obviously, but we also give some updates on the channel if there is any to give, and like pick our favourite episode of the week and that kind of thing. It's a pretty reasonable amount of news this week, not too big, not too low. I should remind you though that in a month's time we are upfront season.
Oh, is it that soon?
Yeah. An upfront season, of course, is where they actually greenlight the shows from the pilots and say, right, this is what we're actually bringing to the table come this fall.
And that's it. Once that starts, the news doesn't let up till end of the year, pretty much.
You may get a bit of quiet time.
Oh, you get the odd week here and there, but
I feel like upfront is busy, and then I think there's a portion of summer that quietens down a bit again, and then it ramps up
yeah,
in the
yeah.
winter. But so that's coming next month. As far as stuff this week that's worth checking out, we had a couple of returns. Better Call Saul returned,
Yeah, finally.
and that was exciting. So do check out that. We also had a new AMC show called The Sun, which we tried last Saturday. We did not like it very much. And
Yeah, can't really recommend it.
we ploughed through the double premiere and were very upset that it was a double by the time we finished. So you can check out a review of that as well. So that was new stuff this week in terms of what we were covering. So let's get into news. Let's talk about what's a bunch of quick stuff to start off with. Some renewals and premiere dates to come at you. So now, admittedly, none of these renewals are actually shows that we currently
Oh,
cover.
okay. I just got a little bit less interested, that's all.
First up, The Magicians has been renewed for season 3 at SyFy.
Cool.
People like that show.
People people do like that show, yeah.
People have requested that we cover that show. We didn't quite manage to catch up in time for the season because it was either that or The Expanse. We hope we might get the second one in. It didn't quite happen. Never say never, but Magicians has been renewed for season 3, so I know that'll make a lot of people happy. The Path got renewed for season 3 at Hulu, which
Man, that's still going.
it's still going. We watched the first episode of that 2 years ago now. Well, it'll be last year now, but we thought it was okay, but we weren't feeling it enough to continue with it. So,
Yeah.
but some people must like it because it's gone out of season 3.
Clearly, yeah.
Uh, Fear the Walking Dead has been renewed for season 4 by AMC.
You couldn't pay me to watch that.
Season 1 was 6 episodes. I watched 4 of them and I still gave up, even though there was only 2 left.
You're a braver man than I.
Well, I'll put it this way: it was a summer content.
Yes, yes. That summer.
Yeah, that summer, and then the last 2 episodes overlap with actual shows, and it was like, no, I'm done. I'm out of here. I can move on. And then lastly, in terms of renewals, we have Nashville, which has been renewed for season 6 by CMT. I have never watched it. I don't think we've ever uttered the word Nashville on this show or on this channel before,
I don't think I've ever uttered the word in my life.
but it does have its fans, so
It
worth
does.
mentioning. At least in this quick section. Premieres, 2 new shows, one new season. Wynonna Earp, season 2. That's actually the news of this hit like right after we recorded the
It was
news last
about
week.
10 minutes after we
Yeah,
finished.
but season 2 of Wynonna Earp is going to premiere on the 9th of June, which is a Friday, which is the same day as it aired last year, if I remember correctly.
And perfect time for us.
Yep, summer content. So that's going to be 10 episodes this year. June 9th. It's a pretty good day. So, yeah, mark your calendar. So, a couple of new shows we get premiere dates for, and they're both pretty reasonable. So, the first one is from USA, and it's called The Sinner. If you remember this show, this is the Jessica Biel show. I'll give you.
Yeah.
I've noted down the description again just to remind people what it actually is. But that's going to premiere the 2nd of August, and that's a Wednesday. That'll be airing. And that's 8 episodes long.
It just about gets into it, doesn't it? If it's safe.
Start of July would be better, don't get me wrong, but start of August isn't bad.
Yeah.
Start of August isn't bad. But the Sinner examines the story of a woman who commits a shocking act of violence in a fit of rage, but cannot remember why. Detective Harry Ambrose, played by Bob Pullman, which is a reason to be excited because I like him, is left to obsess over the motives behind the crime. So, obviously, we're going to check that out when it hits. At the very least, the pilot. I mean, it could suck, but it
Yeah.
definitely sounds worth looking at. And then the other premiere date we got, I'm excited about this one. You know, I don't talk about it as much as Connor brings up his mermaid show that's never happening.
It's happening.
Right? I don't talk about it as much as the deep, as Connor likes to do. And this goes way back, because this was something that was announced, that was in development, like 2 full years ago. But the concept was so outrageous that I remembered it.
Yeah.
And I was excited by it. But I'd forgotten every other detail. I remembered the one detail that I liked, that was exciting, and I forgot everything else.
Well, you don't need anything else. That's its unique thing.
But lo and behold, this week, SyFy, along with, they announced the Wynonna Earp Day, they announced a couple other things that they do during the summer. Sharknado 5, I think, is one of the things they announced.
Killjoys.
Oh no, that was previous. There was like a batch of things that came together.
Yeah, there was a big block of stuff, wasn't it?
But Sharknado 5 was the one that everyone was using the image for. But anyway, and there was a premiere date for another show. And I looked at the title and went, I don't recognise that title. But wait a minute. That could be the show I'm thinking of, though. That could be that show I remember.
Could be the one.
Because that title sounds very like it. And what I'm referring to is Blood Drive. And I remembered hearing, not the name obviously, but I remembered hearing about a show from SyFy about 2 years ago, back when it was early in development, where the premise was that the cars that were in the show ran on human blood. And I remembered it as the Vampire Car Show. And it's finally coming. It's coming on the 14th of June. Perfect summer content. Thank you very much, SyFy.
They got our backs.
The current premise description that they've given us is, in the series, Los Angeles' last good cop, played by Alan Ritchson, is forced to join a cross-country death race, with his only hope of survival being the femme fatale Grace, played by Christina Ochoa? Not sure how to pronounce that last name. The challenge? The cars run on human blood.
This is so good. I've seen it described as a grindhouse film turned into a TV show.
Which excites me greatly. I am so down for something like that during the summer. Give it to me.
That's the perfect time of year for it, isn't it? It's just I want to kick back and watch some vampire cars.
There is, of course, a chance this will just be tedious and not be very good. But this can be genuinely grindhousey. It can be so bad it's good. There's a lot of things it can fall into where I will enjoy it. Yeah. There is obviously the middle ground, which will just be bland, and that is a terrifying thought. But you bet your ass we're covering episode 1 of this. And with a bit of hope. Fear. And with a bit of hope, the whole thing. So, Blood Drive, June 14th.
I don't think it had a title, when it was first announced.
Oh god, it's been so long. It could have done, and I just have forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Or it could have had a different title maybe, and they've changed.
We definitely haven't heard about it recently, though.
Oh, it's been a long time. I thought it had gone. I thought they'd stopped working on it because it had been so long.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what that means when you don't hear about something for a long time. It just means that it welled away and they just gave up on it. But then sometimes they just rise from the ash. You're just like, no, it's ready, it's done, it's shot.
I feel it's happened a lot like this year because Scalped. I feel the same with that, where it went so long without hearing anything that I kind of assumed that was dead.
I wouldn't say that's the exact same, mainly because this is ready to go. This is done. This popped up when it was finished.
I just mean in the sense that with that, it had been so long that I assumed it died.
Oh, sure, yeah, but at least when the news started popping up, it was casting. They're still going to shoot it. They're still not ready. It's still the news cycle. They just had a big gap between the first part and the next part.
The next, but it was so long. I was like, maybe this is dead. And then it was like, oh, it exists still. And this is kind of like this. It's to a bigger scale. It's like, oh, it exists, and it's coming in 3 months or whatever it is.
Yeah, there you go. So next thing, we got a trailer, actually, for The Mist, which Spike TV, although not going to be called Spike TV that much longer, but this is going to air while it's still Spike TV, so it's still Spike TV. Because remember, they'll change into the Paramount Network.
Yeah. End of the year, right?
Yeah, I think it's, it might even be January, February, if I remember right. I can't remember. We covered this 2 weeks ago, I can't remember.
Who cares about details?
But that's later this year, or start next year. But yeah, so they're doing a Mist TV show, which we've talked about this happening once or twice before when it's came up. We got a trailer. Remember, it's going to be 10 episodes long. Worth knowing. And we got a minute and a half sort of teaser trailer, just sort of the first look we've had at it. And I remember thinking when I heard, they're doing a Mist TV show, obviously it's based on the book. There was a movie, which was a very good movie, by the way. I highly recommend it. But I was like, how do you stretch this premise out to a series? I mean, even a full season feels a bit of a stretch. And then beyond that, if you want season 2, you want season 3. Like, how do you do this? And how do you do this story in that way? And going from the trailer, you basically just don't do that story.
Yeah, from everything that I've heard around this, they're not doing that story. They're taking the setting, the idea of the mist, and it being kind of set maybe at the same time as the original story, but it's just in a different area and different people and with a different story.
See, I disagree with that based on this trailer as well. That doesn't
Right, okay.
that doesn't even that doesn't even work either, because it's not. There's some things that are clearly taken from,
Right, okay.
like the fact that there's clearly a crazy sort of over the top religious character who believes in damnation and stuff, taken
Yeah.
from the I've not read the book, but from the movie, that's a character in there. There seems to be some characters trapped in a mall, which is similar to the characters being trapped in like a sort of supermarket in the film.
Yeah.
There's similar things, but the biggest thing that seems to be different though, and this is why I don't think it's in the same time as the
Right,
story in
okay.
the book or the movie, is there doesn't seem to be any monsters in the mist. It seems to be all psychological, which is not the story in the movie at all.
Right.
I other than the fact that there was mist, I did not
Yeah.
recognize, and there's some similar kind of characters they're maybe having. I didn't even recognize this as the same thing.
It's possible they're hiding the stuff in the mist, though,
thought-
keeping it out of the trailer.
Yeah, but even the dialogue in the trailer was like, "Oh, the mist makes you do things. It makes you see things." Or there was like
Yeah.
lines of dialogue like that. It makes it sound like it's a psychological, it affects you, kind of thing.
That's true.
I mean, I hope there's still monsters, because to me the monsters. I mean, that's what that movie was. It was, there's scary monsters outside. We have to stay in here, and
Yeah.
I mean, like, it could be good on its own. I mean, the trailer wasn't great, but
Yeah, I really didn't like the trailer, actually. I mean, I just didn't think it looked very good. I mean, obviously we're covering at least the first one, but I was just like, ooh, I didn't just...
said that about The Exorcist. So
We did, which is why I'm not, it's not be all end all. It can just be a bad trailer. But it didn't strike me as this looks like something I want to watch.
yeah, no. I didn't hate the trailer. I mean, it was kind of, it was just kind of, it was mediocre. It was like kind of mundane, like a typical TV show. There was
Yeah.
no style that made me think, oh, I'm excited about this. There was no bite to it. And seeing a monster reminiscent of a monster from the movie might have done that for me. It might have made me go, oh, it's going to be a monster show. But instead,
Yeah.
it feels like it's going to be a show with characters just with like a drama when they're scared of the
Which
mist.
can be fine. Like, that can be very good.
Oh, it can be, but it just the trailer
This
didn't.
doesn't look like it is particularly that good at what it's doing.
Well, I think it's hard to say if it is or it isn't, but it didn't show you any of the reasons to make you
Yeah.
think it'd be good. I don't think there was anything in it that looked necessarily bad. It's not. It's what they're not showing you. It's not what they are showing you.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. Not in the traditional horror sense of, oh, it's what you don't see that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not teasing the right things. They're teasing character stuff when for this show they really should be teasing what the mist is and
Tease the threat. I mean, like you say, it's called The Mist. Tease that. Show me why that's the thing.
instead there's quick cuts of people kissing and having sex, and there's there's some people just staring at the mist, sure, but there's no real
Yeah.
sense of what it's actually doing. And because I'm not seeing monsters, I'm not seeing a hint of a monster, because there was people out in the mist as well, and maybe that's like big moments in the show when they have to go out in the mist, because that happened in the movie as well. Eventually they had to go out in the mist, and
Sure.
it was dangerous. But a lot of it was avoiding the mist, and I didn't get that sense from this trailer either. So the whole idea of trying to hide and stay safe and survive didn't feel like it was there. So everything I liked about the movie doesn't seem to be in the trailer. So
Interesting.
I didn't think it necessarily looked bad though. It just didn't look particularly exciting either. All right, so
So we got the date for that, right?
yeah, we got a date, June 22nd. They announced that with the trailer. It's a Thursday.
It's a nice time for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's going to get if it's going to get like an extra chance where it maybe get an extra couple of episodes to prove itself more than usual, it'll be this time.
See Dead of Summer.
Yeah. Yeah, Dead of Summer, yes. That was a show that we watched for 4 episodes last year, and we really shouldn't have.
That's 3 episodes more than we should have.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We didn't hate the first one.
All right, it's 2 more than we should have.
Yeah. But the second one really was a sign that it wasn't going to be that good a show, and
Yeah.
somehow we watched another 2 because again, summer's quiet and Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right, we got a bunch of casting stuff next, actually.
Oh, okay.
Not
Anything interesting?
not necessarily new casting stuff. Oh, there's one or two of those, but uh, well, we have a few DC things actually. CW DC related things. First of all, Calista Flockhart is coming back to Supergirl for both the two final episodes of the season,
Cool. About time.
as Cat Grant, of course, which are airing May 15th and May 22nd. And on top of that, Tyler Hoechlin is coming back as Superman for the finale this season.
Yeah. It's really making it a big deal for the end of this season.
Yeah. Although I really hope that his Superman appearances aren't just restricted to premieres and finales. I hope they do, like, next season. Don't do it at the start. Do it in the middle somewhere randomly.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense in this season. You introduce him so you have it at the start as this is your big strong opening, and then it kind of makes sense to have it at the end as well.
But don't do it next season. If anything, put him in the crossover. Like, have the crossover be such a big deal that Supergirl calls in Superman, and have
that is how you make the next crossover feel even bigger.
Yeah, because Superman's there. Superman's
Yeah.
fighting with the Flash and Green Arrow,
Yeah.
and the Legends and whoever. So, yeah, that's what you should do. That's what they should do next year.
Absolutely.
And then shifting over to Arrow, which has got two separate casting newses. First of all, Manu Bennett is returning for the finale of season
Apparently.
5. No, not apparently, it's confirmed.
This is where it gets interesting. I don't know if you've seen this.
Oh, I have seen it. I've seen all of it. I think I'm more up to date than you are on this. It's confirmed.
Oh, okay. Has he confirmed it now then?
There is photos of him on set without a mask.
Right, okay. Because he had this whole thing on Twitter where
Oh, no,
he
no,
was
I've
like,
seen it.
no.
I've seen all of it. People were
Yeah,
debating
yeah.
all week. No, it's confirmed now. 100%.
Right, okay.
It's done. Like, he's in it. There's no doubt.
Why did he do this whole thing on Twitter then?
And if you look at his wording very carefully, he looked at a photo that had someone in Deathstroke armor and said, "That is not me. I'm not filming in Vancouver right now." He was telling the truth. Right now, they're filming with someone else in the outfit for the fight scenes, but he was still going into the shoot.
Fair enough.
The following week, a few days later, whenever it was. So he is in the finale of Arrow,
Okay, cool.
which makes his weird non-appearance in the 100th episode, but they had someone in the suit thing even weirder for me, to be honest.
It does, because I know he had a whole thing where he kind of called out the show for the past couple of years, and it seems like maybe they weren't on the best of terms.
Calling it
Which
out
is
for
what-
being shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
Pretty
fair-
much.
That's fair play.
And I think that's why he wasn't in the 100th, because he'd had this kind of public animosity. But then, I don't know, they must have sorted it out or just gone, hey, we'll pay you.
The other thing from Arrow is Rick Gonzalez and Juliana Harkavy, that's Wild Dog and the New Black Canary, respectively, have been promoted to series regulars for season 6.
That's cool. Where's my ragman, though?
He's well, I don't want to spoil anything, but but no, maybe they'll announce him as a regular later. That's
No,
possible.
that'd be a nice surprise, wouldn't it?
Or they just won't. We'll just forget he ever existed, like certain other characters.
That seems more likely.
Who almost went just forgetting they ever existed, and then they just pop up once with no explanation of where they've been, and done. All right, so here's a more new bit of casting here. Do you remember what Trust is? The Trust from FX.
Not by the name alone, no.
Danny Boyle's producing it. This was the one.
Yeah. 10
10 episodes, the story of the Getty's grandson, John Paul Getty III, heir to the family of... This is a bit long description, by the way. I remember reading all this. It's set in 1973 when the young Getty is kidnapped in Rome and his mafia captors are banking on a multi-million-dollar ransom. The series charts the young man's nightmare ordeal at the hands of the kidnappers who cannot understand why nobody seems to want their captive back. The Italian police think it's a prank and decline to investigate. Paul's father is lost in a heroin daze in London, refuses to answer the phone. His grandfather is marooned in a Tudor mansion in the English countryside, surrounded by 5 mysteries and a pet lion. Only Paul's broke mother is left to negotiate with the increasingly desperate kidnappers. That's the description. I sped through it because it was really long.
I kind of tuned out towards the second half.
It wasn't for you anyway. I don't care if you're listening.
Oh, cool.
This next part's more important though. So
okay. So I guess I should listen.
Donald Sutherland's been cast in the show.
Oh, okay.
He's going to play the billionaire J. Paul Getty. So he's the grandfather.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so Getty, the great oil man and founder of the Getty family dynasty, was the architect of the great family fortune and of its misfortunes too. He was one of the 20th century's most iconic, enigmatic figures, and a man of great contradictions. A billionaire who washed his own socks, a visionary who dreamed of a dynasty, and who was baffled by family.
Jesus, are there any short descriptions for this show?
Yeah, that was long enough to be a description for a show. And, but there you go. So,
No, fair enough. That's decent enough.
yeah, so that's interesting casting. Because we spoke about how that sounded like it had a sense of humour, and it wasn't just played straight, which is why it was
Yes.
more interesting. And Donald Sutherland's definitely a good actor, so that's cool.
Mm.
Bit of kind of negative news now. TNT has decided not to go ahead with its Let the Right One In pilot.
Okay.
They have decided not to bother. Not that I really need this show to exist, because I already have the movie, and the movie's fantastic, so it can be fine. It's already had a pretty decent remake, admittedly, but the original is all I need.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, I really love the original, so it's like I didn't need this. And if it had been good, then sure. I mean, I'd have taken it.
But it does seem like Tomorrow Studios, who are making it, are shopping it around other networks just now
Oh,
to
okay.
see if anyone wants to pick it up.
You never know.
So we could still see it from somewhere, but not TNT.
Not TNT. Yeah.
Yeah, they've decided to not bother. So, next up, Amazon has ordered 2 seasons of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. This is one of the pilots that went up in March for their pilot season. But they are so confident they have ordered 2 seasons.
Cool. We'll see those in about 6 years then. I'm just saying, Amazon. It seems like it takes a really long time to see anything from their pilot season.
Yeah, so I think it just depends on the show. Some examples longer than others. But yeah, so just to give you a refresher what this is about, Miriam Midge Maisel, a 1958 New York City woman who has everything she's ever wanted: the perfect husband, 2 kids, and an elegant Upper West Side apartment, perfect for hosting Yom Kippur dinner. But her perfect life suddenly takes an unexpected turn, and Midge discovers a previously unknown talent for stand-up comedy. So, yeah, they're so confident they've ordered 2 seasons, which is the first time they've ever done that for a new show.
I guess a lot of people were voting for it.
Possibly.
I mean, you'd have to think that they saw an overwhelming amount of enthusiasm for the show for them to make that decision.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think I'm just kind of skeptical of how much the voting actually means anything.
Well, I feel like they probably had it decided that they were going to do 1 anyway, but then they saw, oh, there is a real interest in this with the voting, that they were like, oh yeah, maybe we'll just do 2.
But it's weird. But why? Why do 2? What was the benefit?
So they can have this announcement. I don't know.
I mean, it's not. It's not like you get any benefit really from announcing you're doing 2 seasons.
I wonder if shooting it together, because if they say, oh, they were doing 2 seasons, and they decide to shoot it all together, and it saves them on production costs.
Maybe, but again, that's if they didn't say they're doing that.
No, I know. I'm thinking of a way of how it could benefit them.
Because I mean, like Big Bang Theory just got renewed for 2 or 3 seasons. They're not going to shoot them.
Oh, sure,
back to back,
sure.
So.
But with it being Amazon doing whatever Amazon does, I was just wondering, maybe that's what they're thinking.
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, beyond sounding confident about it, like I think that's the only real benefit I can see from saying you're doing 2 seasons of something is sounding confident. When really, even if you already have decided you're doing a second one, just hold it off. Don't tell anyone. You don't need to.
Yeah, that's true.
Gives you a nice announcement again after the season 2 airs. Like, you know, let it settle for a month or 2. Oh, by the way, we've renewed it, and that's another bit of good news.
Yeah.
And instead, you've blown your load. So.
No, that is true.
So. I don't know.
Maybe some of these executives need a stern talking to on how to dominate the news cycle.
Trickle out your news.
Yeah, play it smart.
All right, and next up, John Ridley, who is behind American Crime, is working with Regina King, who's developing the show with him, but is also going to star in it. It's called No Place Safe. ABC Signature Studios are producing it for FX. And it's based on a book. Kim Reed, her memoir. It's based on a story when she was a kid, from and her mother was on the police force.
Right.
So it's part mystery, thriller, part coming-of-age story, and part civil rights history. No Place Safe is a memoir set in 1979 at the time of the Atlanta child murders and told through the eyes of a young African-American teenager. Reed's mother, an investigator in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, I said police, but close enough, who was on the task force for searching for the serial killer, told her in detail about the quest for the murder of the 29 victims, mostly young black boys.
Sounds reasonably interesting.
I'm kind of into it. I'm not typically super excited about things based on true stories.
Yeah.
But what I like about this is that it's got a mix of different appeals to it. And because it's on FX, I expect it to be relatively high quality.
Yes, we have come to expect a certain standard from them now.
So the idea of like a teenager's perspective of like a mass murderer.
Yeah, I like that it's filtered through something different rather than it just being another true crime thing. It's like this has got a specific filter that we're viewing it through.
Yeah. And also the time period as well. Depending, I can see it being quite stylized if they want to go that route. But no, I'm kind of down. It's only at least try it. It sounds interesting.
Oh, sure, yeah.
All right. Next up, ABC Studios International is given the green light to an international production, an Australian show called Harrow, which will be produced in Australia, along with Australian companies. It's a crime drama. It tells the story of a forensic pathologist, Dr. Daniel Harrow, a specialist at solving bizarre murder cases, but whose past hides a terrible secret that must be kept hidden. Sounds pretty generic.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds just like any other network TV show.
But they'll have
CBS,
Australian
maybe.
accents, Connor, so it's different.
I do like the Australian accent. So
I don't care about the Australian accent.
it's one of my favourites. So, you know.
Whatever. It sounds like such a generic crime show that
It does. Yeah.
Unless it looks particularly well made, it's probably not something that's going to even show up on my radar come
Probably not. We have enough else to cover.
Come airing time. All right. Last up on the news this week, CBS Television Studios. Now, Television Studios, it didn't say it's doing it for CBS. They could be making this for another network. They may not be, but I'm just pointing that out.
Doesn't matter though, does it? You hear CBS. Doesn't matter what follows it. Your interest just drops.
Oh, I'm sure they've made things for other networks before that have been good.
Oh, I'm sure they have, but it's just an instinct reaction. I can't help it. It just drops.
Because it's the sort of thing where they start making something and they realise this does not fit CBS because it's well good maybe, so they'll shop it to the other networks and then it'll go there. But CBS Television Studios have bought the rights to Edgar-winning author Meg Gardiner's forthcoming novel Unsub, and that's in all caps. And it's the first in a series of novels. It's not been released yet. It's coming out later this year. It's a thriller that follows a female detective on the trail of the infamous serial killer inspired by the still unsolved Zodiac case. You've heard of the Zodiac killings?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously the Zodiac movie with from David Fincher and all that. When he breaks his silence and begins killing again. So that actually is quite interesting to me because that's I like the idea of taking like an unsolved serial killer and then like fictionally writing that he comes back.
Yeah.
That's at least a little bit interesting to me.
I mean, you say that, but how many times have you seen that with Jack the Ripper?
Yeah, but that.
I'm just pointing out.
But Jack the Ripper has almost less mystique about him, though. Because like the idea that the Zodiac killer got away with it, and I mean not quite present day, but like in the 70s and stuff, like
yeah, okay.
it's creepier.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. There's something. The fact that I think the problem with Jack the Ripper is that whenever you have to portray that, you're portraying it in old timey London kind of thing, and it all feels like everyone's in fancy dress up. It doesn't feel quite creepy enough. Typically, how it's portrayed.
No, that's fair.
And then if you are bringing them back, you're doing bollocks with time travel.
We all know how the most recent attempt at that went, don't we?
Yeah. Anyway, so the detective who grew up watching her father destroy himself and his family chasing the killer now finds herself facing the same monster. Her work brings her to the attention of the FBI's elite behavioural analysis unit, where she goes to work hunting other unknown subjects, a term used for suspects in criminal investigation, while being tormented by the killer her father never caught. That last part I'm not so hot on because that makes it sound like, there'll be other cases weekly as well.
That's kind of what it sounds like. That is why it sounds like a CBS show.
Yeah, so
Ultimately,
the second half of that sounded like a CBS show. The first half sounded really interesting. Maybe not
I
first.
was really interested until it got to all these other cases
Yeah.
that are it. It's like, okay,
The first half, I don't know if it was maybe a good idea for a show, but for a movie,
oh, absolutely.
you know, the Zodiac killer comes back in like present day. You're like, wait a minute, but wouldn't he be too old? I don't know. It depends what age he was when he started, because we don't know what age he was. And
Yeah.
if he was 20 in the 70s, then he could still be at it. He could
Yeah.
still be doing it. So
I don't know. I feel like that could be an interesting TV show still. Like the investigation, you can really go in on it, and it could be really good. But then you get to that second half of this description, and I go, oh, it's a CBS show, isn't it? Because I'd actually forgotten. Despite what I'd previously just said, I got kind of into the first half of that description, and I'd forgotten who was making this. And then it got to there, and I remembered.
oh well, that's the news. That's
I have
all.
another TV show that you've not mentioned. It's not as big a deal, but you know
Go on,
the band Gorillaz. Are you familiar?
I am familiar with the Gorillaz. Yes.
You know how they have their animated alter egos.
Mm-hmm.
They are currently in the process of producing a 10-episode animated TV show about them. No network or anything. We just came out in an interview this week when they were promoting the new album. But
All right.
I thought it's interesting to see their brand, because that's kind of what their brand is the animated characters. But to have that in a TV show, I know that there was talk in the past of them having a movie with DreamWorks, I think, but then DreamWorks decided they didn't want to spend too much money on it. But
I don't know. Maybe that's something you do more as a web series, like on their website or something, or on YouTube.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know,
no, I know what you mean.
it feels like a weird thing. I actually kind of agree with DreamWorks on this. It feels like a weird thing to spend a lot of money on.
I agree. It feels like it's such a thing that's already for the fans that you have. Like it's a brand extension.
I don't.
Whereas-
I don't think anyone who doesn't know who the Gorillaz are sees a clip of like a Gorillaz like character's cartoon and goes, "Oh, I fancy more of this."
That's the thing. That would make me really interested, though. If this actually ended up being like something legitimately good outside of just, being their brand.
I think you assume it won't be though, because it is an extension of something.
You do assume that first, yeah.
You assume it exists because it's just like not a marketing ploy, but you don't assume it exists because they have a great story idea first. You feel like the story will come last, and then it'll probably suffer.
Yeah, it does feel like, hey, we've got these characters, we've built these characters up already. Let's do something with them, rather than, hey, let's have a TV show.
And if they did an animated movie, it would just be the animated equivalent of Space World.
Probably,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, the fans might defend it, but
Yeah.
that's probably what it would sum up to be. I mean, I don't want to judge it without any. I mean, for all I know, they've got good writers on board and they've got a great idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't really know anything about it other than that he goes, yeah, we're working on it.
It's like, I don't know. It's like McDonald's saying, "Oh, they're going to start selling TVs." Well, that's great, but I don't know you for selling TVs, so why would I trust your TV?
Yeah. That said, the animation in the videos with the characters is often pretty good. So maybe if they get those people involved, have the stylistic stuff carry over. There's something there at least.
But that's the weird thing, though. I almost wonder why they even want to do this. Like your music videos already tell a story. That's kind of what gives them the charm, is they tell this story as your music plays.
No, I agree.
So I don't know.
I'm interested to see if it pans out.
Yeah, we'll see. There you go. That's the news. I guess we'll pick our favourite episode of TV of the week.
I was going to look over and see what we did, and then I realised, I know this one, actually.
Go on, then.
Yeah, it's Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
There was some other good shows, don't get me wrong.
Oh, no. Yeah, there was good stuff. Pretty solid week overall, but other than the Sun was the one real low point.
Yeah, it was.
iZombie was really good. I want to give a shout out to that. Obviously, S.H.I.E.L.D. was good again. Expanse was good again. Very expected, but Better Call Saul was so great to have back. Direction was impeccable. So yeah,
exactly.
Saul gets the win this week.
Now, next week is when it gets interesting.
because we'll have Saul and Fargo on at the same time.
We'll have Saul, first episode of Fargo, final episode of Expanse.
Oh yeah, the finale.
And the first episode of Doctor Who will be in the running next week.
Sure, yeah, because of course Fargo's starting on Wednesday, Doctor Who's starting Saturday, which is this week, but it's post-news, so it's before the next news.
It's part of the next news week.
Yeah, so yeah, we got Doctor Who starting, we got Fargo starting back up for new seasons. We also have a new Netflix show on Friday called Girl Boss, which doesn't sound like our typical fare, but we're going to give the first episode a try and give our thoughts on it and see how it is. I never know, it might be fun.
It might.
You're far more cynical when it comes to these things than I am for some reason. I don't know why.
I feel like they have to earn my non-cynicism. They have to give me a reason not to be cynical.
That's not even like I think I'm particularly optimistic. I just go in completely just even.
That's fair. I mean, credit to you, but I just expect I expect it to be a waste of 20, 40 minutes, whatever it is. I don't know with this one.
PH7.
See. I'm clearly a bit more of a pessimist in this scenario.
Is that alkaline or acid?
Alkaline?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, acid's more exciting, so that's the positive one.
I mean, sure. Let's go with that.
Acid, if you get the right type, can melt shit. That gets things done.
I mean, citrus fruits are nice. Vinegar's pretty cool. I like vinegar. Those are all acidy. What's a good alkaline?
Toothpaste.
I mean, it's useful, but is it something you get excited about?
Well, that's my argument, is you don't get excited about alkaline.
Oh, no, I know. I'm agreeing with you.
All right.
Like, I'm saying, there's nothing really exciting on that end of the scale, is there?
Well, no, because you use it to counteract the acid. Use it as the buzz. It's literally the buzzkill to the acid.
It is, yeah.
What the hell are we even talking about? Right. Sorry, that's what's coming next week. Oh dear. Let us know what you thought of the news this week. Anything in there that's exciting to you? The new shows which particularly tickle your fancy, let us know. But yeah, that's us, guys. So like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter, _fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for if you want to get our ramblings on those. But that's us. So keep watching TV, and have you got any vanilla?